Hello, my name is Dallen Haws, and this is the Plan Your Federal Benefits YouTube channel, or podcast if you're over on the podcast side. It is so good to have you here with me today. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing and joining this great community of those looking to get the most out of their FERS federal retirement. And for those that have been here before, you might have noticed my voice is pretty deep right now. And it is not because I am just really young and just hit puberty, right? I may look really young, but I have already passed that milestone. So, thank you very much. I just had a weird cold sort of thing recently and my voice is so still deep. So, bear with me today. It's going to be a little different today. So, we are going to touch on a topic that is not as analytical today. It is going to be more of a pep talk, a more general advice on how you should think about and make your FERS retirement a reality, okay? This is going to be less numbers and more just general advice and general thoughts on how to get started, how to make your retirement a reality. So, there are two types of federal employees that I work with all the time. And of course, no person's exactly the same, and there's going to be people in the middle everywhere. But with that said, there's two main types that I have noticed of federal employees, that two approaches that they take for retirement. The first is this. It's those federal employees who are proactive, who say, hey, I want this sort of retirement. How do I manage my retirement benefits for my job? How do I manage my TSP? How do I manage my other investments to make my retirement dreams possible? How do I do that? How do I take what I want and morph the tools to make that happen, right? The other approach is those that take the benefits that they find out they're eligible for and say, hey, this is what I have. What can I do with that in retirement, right? So they kind of flip-flop it, where they don't have a proactive plan. They say, hey, at the end of the day, once I retire, what am I eligible for and how am I going to make that work for me down the road? Now, both ways, both strategies can breed some good results, but what I have seen is that the first strategy, being proactive, proactively looking to the future to plan out what you want and making things line up for that, breeds retirements that are successful, meaningful, and a lot less stressful, for sure. So, let's go over a few things that if you are thinking about retirement, not know exactly where to start, this can be a great place for you to start thinking about things that you should be. So, the first thing that you really should be thinking about is what I call just defining the dream. There's some sort of things in life that are much easier to set a specific goal. For example, if you're going on a road trip, let's say you're going to visit someone, you have to define your destination. You have to define where you're trying to go. For example, in your GPS, in Google Maps, you're going to type in, hey, I want to go to this address, boom. And then Google Maps is going to find the best way for you to get there. Taking everything into effect, whether that is traffic, whether that's weather, whether that's a traffic jam, maybe there's an accident, taking all of these factors into effect, they're going to get you to that spot in the best way possible. When it comes to retirement, we have to find, okay, what is my goal? Where am I trying to go? And then once we know that, once we have defined, okay, this is my destination, then we can take all the other factors into account. Okay, you're trying to get here. How do we take taxes into account? How do we take your investments into account? How do we take all your other federal benefits into account to get you to where you want to go in the fastest and the best way possible? And now you might ask, okay, how do I define? What do I need to know? How do I define my retirement goals? It's a lot more vague and a lot harder to actually physically picture than a physical location. And a great place to start is, okay, what type of retirement lifestyle do you want? And what sort of income is it going to take to get there, right? Many federal employees that I work with, when I ask them, hey, how much income do you need in retirement? They don't know. It's very difficult to know just off the top of your head. But a great place to start, honestly, is where you are at now. If you are comfortable, let's say you're nearing retirement, if you're comfortable with how you're living right now, maybe you say, hey, I want to be able to maintain my standard of living in retirement, right? So I want basically the same amount of income that I have now, I want that amount in retirement after taxes, after everything that comes out, right? That could be a great place to start. And once you know that, once you know, hey, I want this sort of thing, then it's a lot easier to make plans, whether that's with your TSP, whether that's with your benefits, whether it's how long you're going to work. All those things, all those decisions become a lot easier because you have a goal. So, once you have defined what you want, the next thing is say, okay, when do I want it by? What is the date that I'm going to set where I want to retire? And now when I say the word retirement to a lot of people, that makes a lot of people nervous. Because some people, like myself, you might love what you do. You might love your job, so it can be very difficult to say, hey, I'm going to just stop working. What am I going to do with all my time, right? It can be very difficult to picture what retirement might look like. So if you're in that boat, maybe you don't want to just stop working as soon as possible, but maybe, hey, what is the date that I want work to become optional, where my finances are such so that if something was to happen, maybe a boss was to change, maybe your health was going to change, maybe your spouse's health was going to change, something was going to change, and you want the financial flexibility to say, hey, I love what I do, but there's different situations, and I want to be able to retire on my terms starting at a specific date. So regardless if you love your job or hate your job, set a date. Say, hey, I want to be financially prepared to retire on my terms in the way that I want by this date, right? And then make a plan to be able to get there. That's the third step, is make a plan. To say, hey, this is the goal, this is the lifestyle, the income that I want, this is the date that I want that income and lifestyle to be possible. What do I need to do now to get from where I am to where I want to be by that specific date? And I wish I could give you more numbers here, but this is so specific to your situation that you're going to have to take it for you. To say, hey, for me, I'm here, but I want to be here. I have a TSP balance of this. If I want my dream retirement income to be X, what do I need in my TSP, right? And a great place to start is say, hey, look at your three-legged stool as a FERS employee. You have your Social Security, you have your FERS pension, and you have your TSP, right? If you're ex-military, you might have a military retirement as well. Look at your fixed income, what's going to hit your bank account every month, no matter what. Look at that, and then after that, after you take taxes out of that, what do you need after that to provide the income, the lifestyle that you want, right? And that money generally comes out of your TSP, right? So that can be a great place to start, to say, hey, every month I need this much for my TSP to make my income, my retirement income goal possible. So how do I save enough to provide that money that I need in retirement? Like I said, this is not specific. This is vague, and it's vague for a reason, because I don't know your situation. But I want for you to go through this very simple process of say, hey, what's my goal? What's my goal date? And what is my plan to be able to get there? Because life goes fast. And if we aren't proactively planning, then sometimes we can get lost. We can get lost in the details, and we forget to think about the future. And we get busy with life, and so we do not do the simple things that we need to do to get to where we want to go. And we look up one day and say, hey, I'm getting up there. I want to retire. Am I prepared? And we want to be the first approach that I mentioned earlier, and that is being proactive. Being proactive of how we plan, how we think about the future, whether that's retirement or anything else. Being proactive to get what you want, and not just what you are happening to be eligible for when it comes to retire. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully this gives you a little kick in the pants near the new year to say, hey, where am I at? Where do I want to be? What do I need to change this year to make sure that happens? So I hope this was helpful. Have a great rest of your day, federal employees, and I hope this helps. I hope it helps you get on the right track to where you need to be for now and in retirement to make sure that you have the life that you want. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.